Hello YouTube, this is Soundwave2 coming at you today with a bit of a project that's been it's been in the works a little while as I've kind of procrastinated due to my job. For those of you that don't know, I work in a factory from 6:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and yeah, it's kind of it's been rough. Let's just say that it's been rough, but let's go. Enough on that. Let's get to the content of the video. I'm actually doing today. This is gonna be a video on a particular one particular aspect of the Steel Swarm archetype. Most specifically, Hercules. Um, for those of you guys who don't frequent my forums, this is one of my pet projects. I do it. I work on it, every now and then whenever I want to have just some stupid fun, and it's kind of funny because it can come down, and if the opponent isn't ready for it, it will cause some damage, some pretty big and rough damage. And yeah, let's go over what he does. For those of you guys who maybe don't know about Steel Swarms, or maybe don't look at, maybe really didn't look at Hercules. All right, so let's get over here. All right. So Steel Swarm Hercules. He's got 3,200 attack. Woohoo. 0 defense like all Steel Swarms, and he's level 10, but that's not really relevant. Alright, let's see here. Cannot be special summoned. That hurts, actually. I guess I really did, like, if you look at this versus, as we'll get into it here in a couple seconds, if you look at his effect versus something like Judgment Dragon, there's a bit of a difference. So I can kind of see how they wouldn't want him to be special summoned. It still hurts though. Right, so but that's one restriction. Okay. Second restriction requires three Steel Storm tributes to be to normal summon, and it can't be normal set. If you were to want to do that, I don't know why you would. Um, that's the biggest restriction here. I mean, it's really hard to work around that because as far as the deck goes, um, Genome is too weak to run to seriously consider running. Um, and the only thing that we have that's really worth taking the time to tribute is Cell and Collar. So yeah, it's a bit harsh, to have that three Steel Storm requirement, but um, I mean, so it limits him as to what he can actually do. I mean, if you're looking at running it in just your average Steel Storm deck, don't do it. Just don't do it. However, if you want to do a deck based solely on Steel Storm Hercules, that is a bit of a different story. All right. Let's go into the rest of it here. Once per turn, you can pay half your life points and destroy all other cards on the field. All right, that's really good. The reason why it's really good is because you can technically never actually hit zero if you're only paying half your life points. A allows us to get into some funky math. You have 500 life points, you go to 250, then you go to I have to pull up a calculator after that. But yeah, it gets pretty funky after that. But where it does shine, however, is that you're really gonna do it. You need to do it once or twice because you're gonna blow up the field, play a card. You're gonna play him one turn, blow up the field, him for 3,200. You're gonna blow up the field, play something else, punch him for 3,200 plus say, let's say your setup for this deck. You're looking at caller caster. Your hand ends up looking like you have a Hercules in the field. You draw into like caller, and you've got caster and KRK in hand. Well, you're gonna blow up their field, and for 32, 17, 16, 17, 50, 16, and 17. So you're gonna hit them pretty hard. I mean, ouch. I mean, that's really good. Okay, you're gonna really. I mean, you compare him with Judgment Dragon. Judgment Dragon ends games at 1,000 life points. This guy is gonna end games even faster. All right. So that's Hercules. Let's kind of get into the rest of the deck here. All right. It's a bit light on monsters, but that's because we're trying to really power through. The deck really focuses on Hercules and wants to power through to Hercules as quickly as possible. All right. So it looks kind of standard to most of my Steel Storm builds. So you run 3 caster, uh, That normal summon actually does kind of come in handy. It's important. Um, Three Karakan, it's a recycler. It allows us to really, in case the Hercules plan falls through, we have something to fall back on. With Karakan, we have some recursion. Collar, who, if you guys have looked at my other videos, Collar is a mainstay in all my builds because it's so good. 1700 again might not be impressive, but it's better than a lot of things in the general meta. I mean, sure, it's no 1800, but that 1700 is still relevant. Cell, who actually plays a bit of a bigger role in this deck than say in some of my other Steelstorm builds. That's the ability to special summon it regardless of what the field looks like. Um, the ability to special summon it from the get go, turn one, my turn, is actually relevant. Um, so I run three cell. I run two Jir's Dag. Again, this is our fallback plan. I mean, if Hercules falls through, I want to have something that I can get that's big and punchy. So Jir's Tag is kind of be our fallback puncher, and honestly, you really can't go wrong with Jir's Tag. All right, we talked about Hercules. Let's kind of go into our spells and traps. So we run a lot of spells, but most of them do something interesting stuff, right? To start off with Allure of Darkness. It allows us. We don't really generally need two or more Hercules on the field. Really honestly think about you're blowing up the field. You don't want two or more on the board. So um, this allows us to get rid of extra Hercules in our hands. It allows us to get some early draw in the game. So I recommend it. It's not at all a requirement. It does allow us to dig for, in case we don't open up with Hercules. It allows us to start right away digging for Hercules. I run three Inferno Reckless Summon because we can special summon Cell, and then activate this, and go and pop out two more from anywhere, and we can then tribute those for Hercules. So it's a bit narrow in scope, but it allows us to really skip around all the hullabaloo and gimmickiness of trying to assemble three Steel Swarms somewhere and go straight for three cell and have a tribute on the board right there. We want to make him appear as invulnerable as possible. So infestation pandemic is a thing. And we run it in three in this deck because we don't necessarily have to set it. If we can play this and not so much have to worry about much of anything at all. All right. Three MST. We want to make him appear as invulnerable as possible. We want to be blowing up the board quickly, and we don't want to have any kind of back row there to hinder us. So three of those. 1 day of peace. Um, we're a bit gimmicky, and we're still wanting to dig for Hercules. So at one, it allows us to kind of play around that. Say we have like this and this, but we don't have any of these in our hand. This allows us to dig and take a turn to really just uh, get some rest in. All right, and then three, Pop Duality. It doesn't really hinder us, as the only special summoning we will be doing is Cell. Uh, we can worry kind of, yeah, sure, Collar special summons, but it's not going to be that relevant in this deck versus some of my other Steelstorm decks where that special summon is actually pretty relevant. So three of those, it helps us dig right. It helps us dig deep right from turn one. All right. So trap support, we got compulsory. This is kind of filler. I don't really have anything. I'm not really familiar with anything that would really help. I'm not a fan of infestation ripples, especially since it can't get us back our win con. So I'm not. I don't run it. Honestly, I don't like it at all. I think it's a terrible card, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't interact well with this deck, in my opinion, so I don't run it. We want to be digging for Hercules as quickly as possible, so we run two Infestation Infection. It's a searchable trap, and it's continuous. Plus, we can do it on either our turn or our opponent's turn, so it's really good. Two Mirror Force for the stun. it's a bit of a Sunday card. I mean, I think with the new ban list, it goes up to three. So I mean, it might be I might be considering that. Um, what is it? We got one solemn warning. I don't think it's that big of a player in today's meta. I don't really play this particular build in today's meta. So I don't know. I run it. I recommend it. And then three Wabaku because again we're not always gonna have our preferred setup in hand, so we want to stall as much as possible within the compatible confines of this deck. All right, and we do have a little bit of an extra deck that's still kind of in progress, but I'll do a quick run through. Daigusto Emerald allows us to kind of put everything back in the deck that we need. Say I need a Hercules, I'm gonna throw it back in the deck along with a Cell and a Collar or a Jirisag, whatever. Um, Bahamut will steal games. Bahamut will win games sometimes all by himself. Given the right targets, yeah, Bahamut's a game winner. Um, Ophion, I run it in three. I really didn't have much of a at the time that I put this together. I didn't have much of a I didn't have much of an idea of what I wanted to do for the extra deck. So I threw in three. I probably don't need three. Um, so you could probably go buy it two. Cowboy will win games, assuming we can't quite get there with Hercules, and then Arc for just general extra deck removal. Probably throwing a Castile, whatever its name is. Um, I'll probably more generalize and flesh out the extra deck as I do some more work on it. But this is the Hercules deck. I'll do my best to get my scout deck up. I do indeed run I do indeed have a scout build. My one of my many mottos is let it never be said that I don't at least try something before I just absolutely hate it. So I do have a scout build. Um, so all right. So this is the deck. Feel free to post any questions or deck suggestions in the comment section below. Please, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and to rate and subscribe and let me know what you think. Trying to think here. I got a couple more minutes here. Also, I'm considering trying to start doing some live recording. I do play a little bit of Magic: The Gathering for those of you who are interested, and I do play in the EDH format or the Elder Dragon Highlander or Commander format. And I'm considering doing some live deck text. So if you guys are interested in that, also please leave that in the comment suggestion below. Whether you guys actually want to see that or not. I look forward to seeing guys' answers. All right. Okay. All right. Well, again, this is Soundwave 2, and have a great day.